Well, hello YouTube, and welcome to the first of a brand new series.
Wow, this feels really strange. Because usually I'm like watching these videos and now I'm in it. It's like,
Welcome to the big leagues, kiddo, even though we're not that big yet.
yeah.
I am Rampage of Unicorns, your host and moderator of this philosophical debate. And joining me are...
Okay, you
I
go
am.
first. Okay, you can go first.
Okay. I am Jay Beardo, or Joe. Yeah, I am playing Egypt right now.
I'm Leo, and yeah. Yeah, I sometimes go by give up young Asian, but I guess I have to be politically correct sometimes. So I guess we're playing Civ 5 while we talk about what happened in the week, I guess. Also, we don't have a name for this yet, right? So, I guess we'll figure that out as we go along. Maybe it will come up in the actual discussion, like, when you're like, oh, well, why don't we just call it that? You know what I mean?
Right, it's a work in progress.
Put an ear out?
We'll make it official
Say
at
that?
some point.
Exactly. Alright, so, first things first. Joe, you want to talk about, SteamOS, right?
Oh yeah, that was actually just
That
announced
got
today.
announced. Yeah, I
Um,
just saw the SteamOS announced, but I don't actually know what it is. So could you tell me and maybe other people who don't explain it, give it a little summary?
Absolutely. I feel like before I have to give a little bit of backstory to why Valve would even do this in the first place, because they're first a game company, not an OS developer. So Valve's history actually is founded with one of the co-founders, Gabe Newell. He used to work at Microsoft, and the only reason why Valve was funded was because Gabe Newell used the stock he had at Microsoft to actually found Microsoft along with another co-founder who I cannot recall off the top of my head. But ever since Microsoft had been going more down a Cloris road, Gabe Newell, sorry about that, was my phone. Gabe Newell has been kind of very skeptical about certain systems that have been really anti-consumerist. The latest being Windows 8. According to Gabe, he said it was just miserable. He said he hated and he despised using Windows 8 because of how closed source it was becoming. Ever since he made that announcement, Gabe has been seen on numerous interview sites dealing with Linux. And he was actually at LinuxCon a couple of days ago. He gave about an 8-minute or so speech about why Linux is the future of gaming, which I can definitely see that happening. Seeing as I actually just installed Arch myself after upgrading from Ubuntu, it is definitely a very, very great system. However, whether I think Valve is going to be going more towards a user-friendly environment with their Linux distro, which is called SteamOS. And what that is allowing people to do is have a open source system in which the users who buy them are not closed in an environment. In another word, with Windows, you're basically stuck with Windows if you're not tech savvy. With Mac, you're stuck with Mac no matter what. However, with devices like Android was especially one of the first ones that really took advantage of this. People were looking for a open source operating system in the phone market besides iOS. And Google's Android system, which is also based off of Linux, came in and completely took that market share and did a great job. I think Gabe saw this and decided that's definitely the next route to go for PC gaming, as they've pretty much been on the forefront of almost every major development. So the biggest thing about Steambox, or the SteamOS I should say, is, let's see, they pull up the site here, because they had a huge site dedicated to these 3 announcements they're making this week.
The Valve
Right,
desktop
so
series.
this is the first of 3 huge announcements.
Right.
So I was saying earlier that anyways, go on. What were you saying?
Okay, so the biggest thing that they're trying to do is make Linux like the next big gaming platform so that everyone can start getting away from Windows and the closed source environment that's going towards. Its main features that they're touting from their page, which you can find at store.steampower.com/living room/SteamOS. It says 4 new features that Steam is focused on for the living room, because they're trying to pretty much take on the console market as well with this. They're focused on in-home streaming, where because we all know most games aren't exactly made for Linux just yet. So SteamOS is making so that you can play all your Windows and Mac games on your SteamOS machine as well. According to the source, it's saying just turn on your existing computer and run Steam as you always have. Then your SteamOS machine can stream those games over your home network straight to your TV, which is fantastic. I don't know if you guys remember OnLive, but they try to do something similar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Which
actually, I don't know if you guys tried that, but have you tried it online?
Oh, yeah.
I have not. I heard it was actually a pretty bad failure.
No, they gave out Arkham Asylum for free to kind of get people using it, and this is why I think PlayStation Gaikai thing is not going to work, because I don't think internet technology is caught up to the point where you can like stream it. Like, is that how Steam is going to work? SteamOS?
So now how it's going to work is you're already going to have the main source in your own home. So you're using your own home's internal network. It's much more efficient than having a centralized server constantly being bombarded with hits to stream every single game that has in its database, right? It's extremely taxing. Instead, what's going to happen is the game's going to be streamed on the desktop computer that has Windows or Mac, whatever game that you want to play on your SteamOS. That's then going to transport basically all of your commands over the network to your desktop computer, which then is going to relay the response back to your Steam box or SteamOS,
Okay,
where
Joe,
you can
I'm
actually
gonna
see
stop you
that taking
there.
place.
Could you explain that in English for somebody who's just really dumb, like me, who just didn't understand a thing what you just said?
Okay, so to put it a little bit more simply, so let's say if you're playing Civ 5, like we are just now, let's say if you want to move a scout, let's say 3 tiles or 2 tiles up to your right, you would on your Steam box, which is streaming the game from your desktop upstairs, for example, over the network, you would issue a command like right click on that certain tile. The command is relayed to the computer wherever it is in your network in the home. Then the command is actually done on the computer, which then streams that back to the SteamOS, which then will display on your TV downstairs. So think of it like
So basically, your computer is doing all the work.
Right. So
it's just kind of showing it on the TV.
Right. So it's as if you're watching a stream, kind of like that, but you're not really watching a stream. You're actually playing the game, but it's being streamed over your network. You're using the OS environment that is actually able to run these games. And it's actually being streamed over the network, so it's actually a pretty decent idea. I think Gabe actually said that's where AT&T, because they want to do something similar like that, AT&T got it wrong, where they wanted to have a centralized network where all this is happening constantly, where users can request this information and get it. Valve believes that the best way to do it is to actually have the main source be in your home already, so you're not only taxing the bandwidth of others, you're just taxing yourself and your own equipment.
So,
All right.
wouldn't
this
that
seems like a novel idea? Yeah, go on, John.
wouldn't that open up problems like if you're doing like an online intensive game with like something more intensive like Team Fortress 2, for example? Wouldn't that put a little bit more lag, like increase your ping a little bit to have to relay over through?
No, it's totally understandable. No, that's actually a really good question, because think of it like this, right? We're playing a game right now online where we're playing against each other and all that. Let's say if someone in the house was streaming Netflix, for example, right? Mm-hmm. Now, of course, you would start to experience yourself a little bit of latency if you don't have that high end of a connection on your end. Whether or not it's going to make that big of a difference, I don't think so, because you're just basically streaming inside your home network. But I mean, time will tell. Valve actually said how they actually modified the Linux kernel that they're using. The kernel is basically a set of core drivers and configuration files to make the system what it is. They modify it to both increase graphic performance, reduce input latency, and increase sound quality. And they've done all these things. So I think that they definitely know what they're doing, and it's just that the proof is going to be actually in the pudding. We actually have to see it happen.
Right. Yeah. I'm just gonna wait till I see it for myself, because right now it almost sounds way too good to be true.
Well, see, the nice thing about it is that you actually don't have to buy anything. It's they said the SteamOS is going to be completely free.
That's what I love about Steam. It's always they're not like another company which shall not be named. But yeah, I mean, they always produce. Well, my question is, how is this going to affect the regular, or maybe that's a misnomer, like the average...
the mainstream OS.
Yeah, because I don't think... Okay, like, kind of like me, I sort of get what you're talking about, but at the same time I don't. Like, how is it going to affect me being able to... Like, you know what I mean?
It's definitely a niche.
Are you saying as if... what if you want to buy a Steam box?
Do you think this is for, like... more for hardcore gamers than it is like, because I thought they were trying to bring Steam to the living room for, I don't know, the family. I mean, I did see the word family in the announcement, so
yeah, no,
or I could be imagining it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to ask here, but
you're asking essentially, who is it targeting? What's the market
Yeah,
for
I
this?
guess. Yeah, do you
Right.
think?
So I think it goes without, or I think it goes with assumption that pretty much anyone who has Steam is relatively technologically literate, right? I mean, they know some ins and outs of technology. Like, am I
Right,
right
yeah,
with you
yeah.
guys? Okay. So with that being the case, SteamOS, if I think they're going to do it how they think they're going to do it, I believe they're going to take the path that Ubuntu did with their installation way. So how Ubuntu did it is if you don't buy a Steam box, if they even announce a Steam box, which I'm pretty sure they will, but if they don't, how Ubuntu worked when you installed it was it actually gave you an option. If you had Windows 7 or another Windows installation currently installed, it would give you an option either to replace that or install alongside of it, which is extremely, extremely helpful because then you can basically have a dual booting system without any hassles, which I'm probably going to be doing that myself. I may do that with current desktop PC, half a partition be SteamOS and the other half being Windows, because I'd much rather play on something much more focused on by a company than a closed source system that is susceptible to malware and viruses. I mean, not like I even have a problem with that anyway. I'm really smart with what I do, but there's always that chance. And especially with being a part of something brand new, something to really further the Linux community, it's something great to be a part of. Now, going back to your question though, whether or not it's a niche, I think it's definitely a niche. Like I agree. Linux I think has one of the smallest market shares with in terms of OS
Out of the
deployment.
three, out of Mac and Windows.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely have the smallest distribution. But those people that use it are one of the top people in the industry in terms of knowledge, right? And plus, everything that we know of is ran off Linux nowadays. Servers, we got our phones are made are as Unix based, which is Linux. So I mean, really going alongside that, I really think I trust Valve and what they're doing. I definitely think they got the right sort of head on their shoulders with where they're going with this, because I know that I definitely shared Gabe's sentiment with Windows 8 when I first installed it, and I think you all can too. I really felt disgusted with what they were trying to do within the desktop environment. I didn't like it one bit. So
I wouldn't go that far as to say I'm disgusted by Windows 8. I mean, I know definitely what they're trying to do, and at some level we kind of have to commend them for trying at least. But
you
they
know,
ultimately failed to bridge that gap that between like the whole tablet market and the phone market and the desktop market. It's the problem with the interfaces.
and you hit it right in the head. It's the interface. It's completely awful. They got rid of things that we learned over time in terms of UI in one single transition. You cannot do that. It has to be slow and easy. Because remember, we've been using a start button for ever since Windows, God, 95. I'm sure even earlier before that. I've never had experience with 3.1, but ever since Windows 95, from what I can remember, it had the start button, and you just can't take away 17 years of having that in one fell swoop. It's not right. I don't know what the UI designers were thinking. I know that at least with Windows Phone, they were trying to brute force their way into the market, but this was straight up, let's purge as much cash as we can, I believe.
I don't know. I think it's kind of a strange move because okay, so the way I see it, and I don't claim to be like hardcore Steam gamer, but to me it seems like they're just trying to move Steam into the living room, and that's kind of how they advertised it. And it's just like, why would they do that? Well, to me, the way I interpret it is because they kind of want to get families, basically what you said, like kind of rival consoles, right? And I think the only way they're going to be able to do that is if it was as easily accessible as possible. And I mean, as easy as Steam is to use, I don't necessarily picture like my mother using it or my 7-year-old cousin. Like they'd be like, they turn it on, they're like, okay, where do I go? So I think that's like going to be their hugest hurdle, is just trying to get people to understand like how to turn it on as easily as like a PS3 or an Xbox.
Well, I really think that's where their big picture mode came in. I definitely think it was a trial and to see how well people really liked it. And I definitely would like it. I mean, I have no reason to use it right now because I don't have a living room in which I would use Steam in.
That's another reason. Another question I was going to ask. Like, when they announced SteamOS, I was like, oh, we're going to bring the Steam to your television in your living room, and there's going to be family options. And the first thing I thought of was, wait a minute, didn't they do this a couple months ago with Big Picture? And the only difference I could see was Linux. Now, I'm probably wrong, and I think I am, but is there like a difference between Big Picture and SteamOS?
Huge difference. SteamOS is literally its own operating system. It's a customized Linux distro, as has how Ubuntu, Elementary OS, and Arch Linux are Linux distros. They're completely different flavors. Each distro comes with their own respective abilities. That's it. Like OpenBSD is strictly all about security. It's one of the more difficult distros to install effectively and get running. Arch is known as one of the Gentoo Linux distros, meaning like you basically remember the command prompts and you have to do everything yourself, including installation of all the core files that would make it an Arch installation. Whereas when you get upwards to how I'd say a higher level thing of Linux, where you're basically hidden away from as much of the core mechanics as possible, you would be met with Ubuntu, which takes care of the installation for you. And I believe Elementary OS is basically for kids to learn Linux and stuff like that. So SteamOS is its own beast, in a word. It just comes pre-packaged with Steam Big Picture, so that you'd be able to use it very easily in your living room TV. You know, the best ways to think of it is a console that is open source, where you can upgrade it in any way that you want. You can even install Windows on it if you want to. If you really wanted to, you can do that. It's there strictly to offer the open source alternative, which I have no doubt in my mind people would adopt once the word got out and they saw how many games were already available for it. Plus, Gabe already said that if they were to develop a Steam box, which there have been rumors of, I think he already said that he already had like 15 or so hardware vendors already on the horn, waiting for the okay to start helping them out with development. So Valve definitely has ties there.
So you said this is open source?
Yes.
Okay, so like, how is that different to like? I know Windows. Well, is Windows open source? Because I know you explained earlier that okay, this is open source or like a bunch of benefits, but my warriors were kind of getting killed by some barbarians. So could you repeat that again? Like, I was just confused with like the whole like how okay, so basically open source, what's it called, SteamOS, like how is that beneficial to gamers? Like, why does that matter?
So with it being open source, content creators and developers, and even people like you and I, who are keen at using computers or programming stuff like that, can actually push updates to it immediately for the game without having to need like Steam's approval, because it's open source. So let's say if there's a major game update that if Rockstar or whatever, please bring GTA 5 to the PC as soon as possible. Let's say if they wanted to push an update for that game like quickly, they would just be able to push it right away, immediately. Whereas with let's say
I see. So they don't have to like seek approval, basically.
You got it. Like for example, if we relate it to consoles, because this is kind of what the Steam box is trying to do with Microsoft's Xbox, you actually have to pay money for each patch after the first one in order to push it out, which is odd because then basically you're just letting people have a broken product. Sony, on the other hand, allows you free updates whenever you want. So that was kind of taking a page from what not to do and what to do, and they are definitely going open source. I mean, they've always been that way. They've always been for the consumer. I've never really seen them perform something I didn't really disagree with them on in terms of like sort of area on what's okay and like what does the consumer really own and what don't they own. Maybe the only thing I have a problem with is their ideas on digital games, of whether or not you can trade them back and forth once you purchase them. For the whole licensing issue, that's still a bit of a gray area that still needs to be debated upon. But in terms of hardware, my personal philosophy is if you bought the product, it is yours to modify in any which way that you want. Like the best thing I could think of is jailbreaking, right? So let's say if you want to jailbreak your iPhone, Apple really doesn't want you to do that. I think I remember one court case where they actually tried to sue somebody. I may be mistaken. It may have been another instance, but they were trying to like get some sort of damages out of someone for jailbreaking their phone, saying how it was illegal and all this stuff. But ever since the DMCA 2010 Act was passed or whatever, they said how jailbreaking was not illegal or legal. So it's still a gray area. So again, one of the benefits of open source being is that you can basically make as many modifications as you want, and you can basically fear no repercussions. You can develop for it. You can make whatever you want.
Something that comes to my mind with open source, like, yes, there is a benefit to open source in the idea that you could push more to it because it's less hindered by like a system process. You basically the company controlling the distribution chain says, hey, now you can't do this, you have to do this. But at the same time, that also opens up the gates for a little too much freedom in the sense that without a good stopgap, you could let really bad stuff come through. I'm not talking about like malware and stuff, but I'm talking about like really crappy experiences or really crappy games that just would ruin the experience.
And this is where Steam Greenlight comes in. Valve has been really trying to perfect Stream Greenlight. I really think they've been doing a better job with it than they first started on. At first, they started doing some really, really, really terrible games in terms of greenlighting them. One comes to mind was
Towns.
I want to say War Z, I think it was, not
Oh
Daisy.
yeah.
Daisy.
Oh
Yeah.
man, the War's
So
the Daisy ripoff, basically. Yeah.
Right. For those who don't know, Daisy was a popular Arma 2 mod where it basically simulated a zombie apocalypse in an open roam area. It was
That
really,
game
really
was
popular.
so good.
Yeah, I personally never
World.
played it. Yeah,
What?
I personally never played it. I should really get to playing that.
Oh, dude, you
but,
gotta.
I know.
That should actually be the next game we play. Really fun game.
Yeah, I'd be down to already have it. But yeah,
I think why I love that game is because it's a zombie game done right. It's like persistent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so you die, you lose all your stuff.
Right, and of course you can start over. I'm sure after a time period, right?
Right. Yeah. But you have to get all your supplies. I don't know, just the unique sense of online. It's just like talking to or meeting random people, and you don't know whether they're good or not. That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, like a stranger, pow.
Exactly.
Yeah. So War Z came about basically trying to capitalize the success on the whole zombie genre that's been coming about. And they advertised the game as being complete. All these features are in there, and et cetera, and they were charging a pretty hefty fee for it. Well, the game came out. Yeah, the game came out, and it was...
Oh, it was terrible.
Probably the worst game launch I've seen besides
like
SimCity.
Bugs everywhere. I saw some gameplay on YouTube because I didn't want to pay crap, and it was just, it looked so unfinished. I mean, it was just like, how did they like look at themselves in the mirror and say, yeah, this game's done? It just looked so bad. It looked like running was like, I don't know, 5 centimeters and like forward. The zombies looked completely like brain dead in the worst sense of the word. Everything was bad, and then on top of that, on top of an unfinished, crappy looking, crappy playing game, microtransactions, right? So you could get ahead of people by paying like $3 to get whatever supplies. It was just so stupid, and I think that was like an example of how like the worst of a green light, which is supposed to be like, allowing games to bypass all this bureaucracy. Instead, is just like this unchecked, unfinished game that just allowed to be sold. And the worst part is that, I don't know if you guys know about this, but during the Steam sale, this summer Steam sale, they rebranded it. So it's not War Z anymore. It's something like Infestation, like Survivor or something. Something stupid and generic. But they didn't even mention War Z, and people bought it because it was on sale and it looked like a zombie game. And it was... I'm pretty sure, okay, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they didn't change anything aside from the name.
So they pulled a Final Fantasy 15. Get rid of all the bad karma with the name and just change the name.
Yeah, I think they improved upon it a little bit. Like, they did obviously fix the major bug fixes because people were bombarding Valve for refunds. And Valve isn't too keen on giving refunds, as what I said earlier with whole licensing and finality of purchase. But some people were able to get a refund. But eventually Valve requested that they were actually taken off Steam until they fixed the problems that they were having. And then they were able to re-upload. So they were able to add in some of the features that they actually promised and fix a ton of the bugs. But it was still, I think it was a prime example of how badly developers could take advantage of the system. And now they added so many checks and balances in there. Like, for example, they offered, or now, like, some games actually say whether or not they're in alpha, beta status, and the developer can actually say, all right, here's what we have currently. We plan to do X. Here's currently what's working, Y, all this stuff, which I definitely think is an improvement. I still think it definitely has a long way to go, but I think that's why they're coming out with SteamOS, to really further the idea and to foster the innovation that they're really trying to go for in that whole open sourceness feel of what they're trying to go for with SteamOS.
Slightly going off on a tangent here. You guys played Black Mesa yet?
Yes, I have.
That was actually green lit, right?
Yes, it was. At first it wasn't, because they released it way before Steam Greenlight, but people did get it onto Steam, and it was promptly greenlit after.
Yeah, what's taking it so long? I thought greenlit games like go on sale like a couple of weeks or months even after they're greenlit.
So I think since people are able to download the mod partially finished as is, because right now they're still making Zen, the whole later part of Half-Life, I think in order for it to be completely released, Valve's waiting on them to actually, or I should say the developers are waiting to fully release it once they actually get the Zen chapter finished, which honestly is the
Oh, it
most
doesn't
fun
come with
part of the
Zen?
game. It does not come with Zen.
That's the
Zen,
alien part
first
of
part.
Half-Life, right?
Right, that is the alien where teleporting rocket booster jump part. Yeah.
You know what's cool about that level? In any other situation, it would look so tacky and stupid, but somehow, like, Valve made it seem just really awesome.
I'm saying that's the wonder of them, man. They really know how to make things work exactly how they
Yeah.
want it to.
He loves them. Circle jerk for style. But anyways, on to you know what? This game is taking forever. Did we choose like marathon or something?
We sure did.
Oh,
I told
that
you.
explains
I
it.
told you.
You know what though? Like I was like wondering. Okay, so what units do you guys have right now?
I'm not
Let's
telling
see.
you. It's my strategy, man.
Okay, fine, whatever. No, because I had okay. So you know how you start off with a settler and a worker. My workers, no, not my workers. My warriors.
Warrior.
Yeah, just got freaking slaughtered by some barbarians. So I've just been looking at Kyoto for the past 60 or so turns, like growing, and I'm just been clicking like next turn and nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah. You should get good. Not kill off your warrior so quickly in the beginning.
Yeah, this talking and playing thing is harder than it seems.
Is that why you're like passing it off to like long discussion questions for Joe?
And yet I'm
Yeah,
still
exactly.
leading everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People weren't sure it's like an award. But anyways, should we move on to the next topic then?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, well I had down GTA, but then I know John hasn't played it, so I don't want to feel left out.
No, dude, ruin it for me. I will never play another GTA.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Okay, let's definitely talk about
Why
GTA.
don't you ever want to play one of the highest selling, most popular, most
You got it right
well-made-
there. You got it right there. Highest
What?
selling games don't interest me. What interests me
What are you
is
talking about? You play Black Ops.
I play Black Ops not because it's the highest grossing game. I play it because it's hilariously fun.
Well, that's
And
why
GTA,
people
and
play Grand
GTA
Theft Auto.
isn't.
To me, I don't find any joy playing GTA. It's like sandbox games. There are, in my opinion, again, this is my opinion, so don't like kill me. But
Too late.
there's only so many games that I have that are sandbox, and I barely play them because there's so much repetition that goes on in them that I just
Listen.
lose all hope.
Okay,
Say
that's a
say,
legit
say one.
concern.
Say one.
Assassin's Creed, though I
that's
love
your
the
answer.
series
Okay.
to death, there's so much grinding.
Yeah.
So you want to know why? Because I don't think Ubisoft is really that good of a open world developer. Now, don't kill me yet because I know they made
I'm
Far
not gonna
Cry.
kill you. I'm not gonna kill you. These are just opinions. Opinions.
well,
I
2
know
was
that-
good.
I know they made Far. Jesus, don't even mention the 2 was good.
What, Far Cry 2? Or no, I'm talking about Assassin's Creed 2.
Okay, yeah, now see, Assassin's Creed 1 was terrible because they
Oh, that was
absolutely
terrible.
did not
I hate
know
that game.
what the hell they were doing.
Yeah.
Then again, for their first attempt at it, it was pretty mind blowing for the first time.
Well, it was the original idea. Of course, it's going to be great, but the gameplay was absolutely flawed.
True.
You can
Very
basically
true.
parry everything and then kill them in one hit.
Still do that, I think.
What was that?
I think you can still do that. Or at
Oh,
least
no,
I was
you can
playing
definitely-
Assassin's Creed 2, but
You could definitely still do that. They really improved upon it from how I feel in 4. Or I'm sorry, not 4, 3. But still, I really think why 2 was so great was because they introduced a really interesting character, being Ezio.
Right.
And he was such a likable character. He was witty,
yeah, I
funny,
agree.
serious.
I was
He
just
great.
playing Assassin's Creed 2 actually, literally 2 weeks ago, and yeah, like he starts off like this rich guy's, forgot his name, yeah, from a rich family, and he basically has a life, you know, just killing some Italian peasants and getting laid by his girlfriend and then suddenly, I mean, I don't want to ruin it. I mean, it's been like what? How many years?
It's been
4
a while.
years?
Free, free. Go
Yeah.
for it.
I still don't want to spoil it, but something throws him down. Like an event happens, and he's basically, you know, forced to fend for himself, which I think is. I don't think that story's been done enough. I don't think. Like, if we're going back to GTA, pretty much everything's a rags to riches story.
In the opposite case of Michael, though. Just
Yeah, that's
like,
why GTA is.
yeah,
Um,
but GTA I feel has one of the best characterization going on. It's
yeah.
amazing. I want to
Voice
say
acting is just like unbeatable.
oh, it's superb. It's magnificent. Trevor, the voice actor for Trevor, did a
Oh, he's
fantastic job.
amazing.
And I just feel like the motion capture is brilliant. They did a great job with that. They did a great job with Euphoria, making that a little bit more realistic.
Oh,
They
it's a great
definitely
engine anyway.
yeah, they did a great job optimizing. I think their engine they're using is the Rage engine, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong. I need to check that. But they definitely made some huge optimizations to that performed very well. And with the addition of, like I said, adding the 3 characters in there as your playables, and well, each give them equal attention in terms of backstory is just fantastic. I feel like Franklin's lacking a little bit in terms of his backstory compared to Michael and
Yeah, his
Trevor.
motivations kind of contradict sometimes.
Right. No, totally.
Jarring.
I feel like, although I'm comparing Franklin to two people who have had a longer history of doing this compared to Franklin, so of course they're going to have a little bit of richer backstory. But I've never been so engrossed, and I've never seen so much happen in a GTA game since this one. And I really wanted to wait until the rose glasses were off, and I could actually see clearly, and now it's like, it's the best game ever. But I'm almost positive this is definitely going to be one of the most memorable GTAs of all time.
I completely agree. No, but going back to the characterization part, I think they're all really compelling in their own way. But I don't know if have you guys played GTA 4?
Yes.
Nope.
Okay, I'm assuming John had. Yeah, okay, great. But anyways, I think Nico, at least for me, is like still one of my favorite Grand Theft Auto characters because he's just so. I don't know. There's something about like this Eastern European immigrant coming to America being completely like, what the hell is going on? Like advertising, all these lies. It's just perfect. And even then, I feel like the move to make 3 characters, 3 protagonists for GTA 5 was partly, I mean, this is just speculation, but it was partly because Nico was like such a huge like standard to live up to. He's just so compelling compared to other characters.
Yeah,
That's just
I mean,
me.
he just wanted to be good in the end. He just wanted a new life, and
Yeah.
as unfortunately as it seems with almost every GTA, his past just comes back to haunt him. And
Right. Yeah.
it's very unfortunate. I actually do start to kind of feel for Nico because especially with and it's been since 2008, so I'm going to say it, especially since how Michelle basically tricked him and was basically
I hated that. That was really
yeah.
annoying, to be
Yeah.
honest.
And I've never really liked her anyway. I felt she was definitely shoehorned in to be that kind of plot
Yeah, she
element.
was underdeveloped.
Yeah, but I definitely feel like they really had you attached to the choices you have to make, especially with killing off certain players like Playboy X or Playboy X's
Jacob.
friend that got out of prison.
Oh,
I can't think of his name.
Dwayne?
Dwayne. You can either kill one of those two and each have their own benefits. You could choose to either kill or save the guy who's hanging off a ledge when you took the one job from.
The choices.
Yeah, the choices were a great addition, and they're definitely too, because otherwise, ever since I think San Andreas had some choices. I don't exactly recall though, but I want to say ever since Vice City, we've kind of been sort of guided down a linear path while making it have the illusion of it being open world. I definitely feel like GTA is definitely evolving past that, where they're trying to make it each their own experience. They're only one of the few game companies really doing that anymore. Of course, Bioware really fell off the wagon with Mass Effect 3. We won't talk about
man. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
The pain is still too real.
Too soon. Never forget.
But yeah, no, I definitely think Rockstar definitely hit a home run with this one. I've yet to see.
I think Rockstar is just one of those developers that are just so consistently good at what they do. Like, I know Valve is, but they work at Valve time. Ubisoft is hit or miss, but Rockstar is just like they really put like this love into everything. See, John, like, why can't you appreciate that, man? Why don't you like? Have you played GTA at all?
I have
Like,
played GTA 3.
Oh
man.
my goodness.
Come
I know,
on, get
I
with
know.
the
I seem like a
times,
barbarian,
dude.
but
Get with the times.
John, I swear, if you play Vice City should be $5 by now for the PS2 or even for the PC. You will fall in love with the series. I promise you. It is such a fantastic game.
I actually started San Andreas and I fell in love. Like as soon as as soon as it started, I was like, okay, this is my game series now.
I really
There's
think
just something about it.
yeah, with how your favorite character is Nico, I really think my favorite character is Tommy Vercetti. He was
Really?
definitely that ruthless '80s criminal, who just wanted money. It was definitely had that Scarface vibe to it. Especially, it had so many Scarface references, especially with the very end shootout, and how you were walking off with Ken Rosenberg. Saying how it's going to be a very beautiful friendship and stuff like that. It was a fantastic game, well done. Especially since that was the first game to actually introduce property management and getting money from that. Which is definitely and motorcycles. Don't forget motorcycles. That was the first one too. Overall, great game. John, I'm disappointed in you.
Yeah, John, come on, man. Oh, my warrior unit was killed again. Are you kidding me?
Good.
Wait, give me.
Marathon's impossible, you guys.
I'm I'm doing pretty good.
How many units do you guys have? Because I still only have that city. Barbarians.
I got I want to say I have a scout. My spearman somehow got killed by a hidden barbarian.
I'm 2 warriors and a worker strong, and I cleared out 8.
What
No,
the
not 8.
fudge?
Like 7 barbarian camps.
The 2 warrior units just died, so looking at Kyoto again, being ravaged by barbarians.
Sandbox games are just not my thing. Infamous, Prototype, all of those games are just.
Okay,
God.
well, try Grand Theft Auto because I'd say I love Infamous and Prototype was, but Grand Theft Auto just completely blows away every other sandbox game that I can even think of.
Yeah, to compare GTA
the only other
to.
thing
Oh, go ahead.
is
Sorry.
Crysis sandbox.
You could make that argument, but it's very linear.
Crysis 2 definitely isn't sandbox. But
Yeah, the Crisis 1 is you could definitely make the argument that it is extremely linear. You really can't do much outside of it.
Well, if it's linear, I don't think it would actually be considered a sandbox. So like having a bunch of side missions, I don't think equates to a sandbox. I think a true sandbox is like I can dick around at the city at any point in time and progress the story at my leisure.
And you could definitely do that in Crisis, but however, there's really nothing at all whatsoever to do outside of the main missions in Crisis, like the
Yeah.
original one.
Except dick around.
Right. Which that eventually got very boring after a while.
Right.
So then here's my argument. Like that's what I felt with GTA. Like except for story missions, I felt like there was no incentive for me to go and do side missions because they bored the heck out of me.
Because you played GTA 3.
So like sell me on GTA 5. I get that the characterization is good, but The Last of Us had great characterization. What about GTA 5 is so
honestly,
compelling?
Honestly, GTA 5 has so many features and aspects to it as a world.
What
that
is the
just
one
trying
killer
to pitch
one?
it to you is impossible, and that's my pitch. The fact that I can't pitch it to you because it's so big, that's my pitch. That's how huge the game is. It's just how big's the map? Did I say it was like a
The map is 7x7. Map is 7x7 kilometers or miles large, so 49
It's
square
freaking
miles.
massive.
It's
freaking
huge.
massive.
See, maps don't do it for me. After the first few missions, I'm usually quick traveling
All
because
right, well, what does do it for you?
like Journey. Journey's a map that I couldn't care less how big it was because that's dude.
No, what do you look for in a video game then?
My main things are can it. First of all, since it's a game, is it fun?
Yes, GTA 5 is
fun. 10 times yes.
Second of all, does it have a reason to exist? Is there something that says, hey, you have to buy me. Not just rent me, not just try me, but actually buy me and play over and over again.
Yes.
It's slightly different from replayability, because replayability is like I don't consider going back to get every single achievement and getting every single unlockable replayability. It's one of those things like Heavy Rain had replayability. I actually want to go back and figure out what happens if I do something else wrong.
Oh, John, I met you. But no, all right. So to answer your point about that with replayability, luckily I'm not like that either. I don't go back after a game to get 100%. But I like I said, I never found myself ever doing that. But here I am in GTA 5. I'm walking on foot around the city, exploring. I've never, ever done that in a game, ever. I usually am just like you, and trying to fast travel everywhere. I was guilty of that in Skyrim and Oblivion, and Just Cause 2. But in GTA 5, I just feel like I'm just doing a huge disservice to the developers who have donated so much time. For example, there was there's a stream back when GTA 4 came out by 4 Player Podcast, or yeah, something like I think that's what it was. And this is just one guy on a scooter riding next to another scooter, and they call themselves Scooter Brothers. And they were just riding around asking each other, "What are you doing, Scooter Brother?" You know, of course, it was just an AI person on a scooter, but it was very funny, you know, because it was just like that. Rockstar dedicated a quick event after you switch a Trevor area once in a while, where he's on a scooter riding next to another guy, and he says the exact same lines that were spouted in that video, word for word. How much fan service can you get in an open world game where they dedicated an entire quick event when you switch to Trevor? And this huge game like that took 6 years to develop. That alone, if they bothered to include that, they must have been saying like, what else can we pop in this game? You know, we have so much room to put stuff into. What else can we do? You know, it's just so full of everything. I mean, you can lay gas trails and light them on fire with the backfire from a car exhaust. You know, it's just stuff like that you can do to pull a heist. Or...
John, I'm gonna tell you my story. If this doesn't sell you, I don't know what will. Okay, so there's this mission. Okay, I won't try to spoil too much, but there's this mission where you play one character, and you're basically working for a friend who wants another person assassinated because he's the CEO of a rival. He's the CEO of a rival company, of a company that you have stocks in, or your friend has stocks in, right? So GTA actually has a stock market called the Bosdaq, right? And when he said, "Okay, go kill the CEO of this rival company," I immediately invested like $400,000 of stocks into the company into the other company while it was still really cheap, right? So I go and do the mission. I kill the CEO. After the mission, my stocks like completely shoot up, and I make, I don't know, like $8,000 profit or something, or $80,000. Come on, man, that's freaking crazy.
Yeah. You can do even events outside of that mission. You can even destroy certain protection services. Their stocks drop, you know, so you can buy them up so they get back up again and then sell them off. It's just the amount of stuff that they put in that game is just bewildering. John, it's worth $1.99 Redbox rental at most, or at least. You know,
At
just
least,
do that.
yeah.
Okay,
Because,
so
I don't know, this is coming from a guy who, like, I didn't live in America my entire life, so, like, coming to America and playing Grand Theft Auto, it's just social commentary on America and, like, advertising people's obsession to become famous, that kind of stuff, that just really, I feel like no other video game explores that, at least not that I can think of.
what about its main rival, Saints Row 4?
I mean, I don't
I
think
wouldn't
so.
even I wouldn't even classify those two in the same category anymore. I mean, Saints Row 4 knows it's a parody of Saints Row the Third. It's a parody on itself. GTA
Yeah.
5 or the GTA series in general is mainly a social commentary. Is how I would best describe it in terms of its theme.
But
They're out there to prove a point.
But if you think about the core gameplay, they're essentially the same. Like ignoring okay, so ignoring the context of both games,
No,
they're essentially the same game.
no, I have to object there. I can't fly in GTA 5. I can't shoot like balls of fire out of my fists in GTA 5. I can't exactly do that.
But it still has the whole urban sandbox. It's got gang affiliated ideologies, but that's more context, so I'm going to throw that one out there. It's got third person, first person shooter elements where you're mostly a free roaming character with a gun, stealing cars and doing things and just dicking around in a sandbox that has a loosely overarching story.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna make an analogy here, and it's probably gonna be wrong, and people are gonna shout at me. But Okay, Saints Row to me is sort of like classic, you know, Batman underwear over his trousers kind of guy. Okay, it's like ridiculous, it's fun, but you know.
Hey, they're
whatever.
Spanx.
But
They make him look slimming.
Grand Theft Auto 4 is like the Dark Knight. It's like kind of gritty and realistic, but there's still moments where it's just like, oh, I see what they did there.
Yeah, no, it's very clever. I mean, Grand Theft Auto knows what it is. It's one of the main leaders in its genre, and they know that, and they use that position to not only further the gaming standard in that area, but they also serve to do social commentary. And I have to bring this point up, John or Vio. How far are you in GTA 5?
Like mission 43. Yeah, 43 out of 69.
Okay, so do you know the mission name or what the point of the mission was?
I just finished the what was it? Think. It was like I had to take Merryweather. That's all I can think of. Merryweather. Does that ring a bell?
There were a couple missions involving him. Did you happen to have to assassinate a certain someone with a beard?
Assassinate us.
Yourself?
No, did you happen to do that yet?
Okay, so
What?
that would be a cool element of a gameplay to somehow break the fourth wall, and you have to assassinate yourself to continue playing the game.
No,
Oculus
but
Rift, stab your eyes out right now.
there was a. Did you have to assassinate someone with a beard, Leo?
I'm trying to think.
You would remember.
No, okay, so the last mission I did was a group of guys in a car, and then they hit like a deer or something, and they crash.
Oh no, I know the exact one. O'Neill Brothers. Yep, I know that one.
Yeah.
You should be past this, I think. Oh god, I don't know if I want to say this or not.
Spoiler
Wait,
alert.
because it might spoil me or it might spoil people watching this.
Well, it might spoil people watching it, but it's a point I'm trying to make. All right, regardless, I can
Well,
kind
type
of.
it into TeamSpeak then. Voldemort actually kills Nico.
Yep,
That's a spoiler.
You got it. But no, Leo, did you get that message?
No.
The spoiler is Harry
Uh,
Potter is a wizard.
Would you
Well, then I'll
do
type-
it on
I'll type it in.
TeamSpeak? Or
Yeah, I did. I'll do it in Steam chat as well.
I
You don't get it. Harry Potter is a wizard. That's the whole idea of the book. I'm sorry if I spoiled 7 books for you, but that's the joke.
Oh crap! Yeah.
You did that?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
messed up, man. I was
All right,
cringing
all right.
throughout the entire thing.
All right, spoiler time. All right. So I'll give everyone about 5 seconds to mute their audio, and 4,
Spoilers!
3, 2, 1.
Spoilers!
Okay, so in GTA 5, you basically in this government agency office, you had to rescue this one guy who was of Arabian descent, we could assume, and you rescue him, saying like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna help you out, we're gonna let you free," and stuff like that, and you end up torturing him as Trevor, who is just like who you eventually come to know as like a very masochistic.
As a psycho.
He is. He's a meth addict, and you basically can torture him to get information out of him. He's completely innocent. The only connection he has with this guy is they installed a home stereo system for this guy that you're trying to assassinate. And here you are as Trevor. You're forced to do it, and you have 4 weapons: a wrench, a plier, a car battery, the ends of a car battery, and
Gasoline. Right?
jerry can, gasoline, right? The wrench, or not the wrench, the pliers you can pull out a tooth. Like
That was
forcefully.
disgusting. That was the part that made me cringe.
It was
Because there
very
was like
bad.
a little meter showing how far the tooth was coming out his
Yeah.
gums.
Yeah,
Gosh.
it's very bad. Then there's a wrench where you just basically break the crap out of this guy's kneecap. Like it's shattered. There's blood everywhere. The third one is a car. I never used a car battery, so I don't exactly know how effective that was or what happened.
I think he just connected it to his body and he'd be like electrocuted a little bit.
Oh, okay. I kind of
Yeah.
figured, but I didn't know how far it would go. And then with the gasoline, you would basically waterboard him, and
Oh my god.
that went forever. I felt terrible because I kept trying to stop it halfway, thinking like he'd be fine to talk, but it would make me keep going. And I think with stuff like that, they're definitely trying to show a message, saying like this is what is happening. Like this person definitely didn't need to have this done to him because all he did was install a home theater system. There are probably people much worse that they can find, even if we did have to do this, which I don't think we should have to do something like that. But that's what GTA is trying to do with its position. It's trying to bring out controversy. And
Yeah,
make
see,
people
that's
talk
the
about
thing.
it.
People always talk about how Grand Theft Auto inspires all this violence, blah blah blah. But in a way, doesn't it kind of reflect society's violence more than it does fire it. At least that's
Right,
how
no,
I view
it does because there was even a video where it reflected how scared of black people some Americans are. Like in the very early missions GTA, I'm gonna say it because this is so early in the game that I can't even consider it a spoiler.
Is that the YouTube video where you walking in that suburban white couple and they're just like, "Oh, I'm calling the police. Oh, he's." I don't
Yeah,
want
right. Yes, and I'll say it. The guy basically pushes the woman out in front of him. That's kind of funny, like towards the guy who's invading the house, and the guy just starts screaming, "Help! Help! He's black!" He just shouts "black" as if like that's like the worst thing that could ever happen. Not the fact that he's invading the house, not the fact that he may be threatening, that he's black. It's just stuff like that. That it's just they're just. It's a huge social commentary. And I really like to think of GTA as like the Jon Stewart show, or the Daily Show, or the Colbert Report of games. They're really trying to bring out these huge social issues that no one else really wants to. Like in the industry, it's just very stagnant right now. Like what do we have? We have about 10 or 20 Call of Duty clones out there. Even Splinter Cell, a well-respected stealth franchise, is now Call of Duty 5. We can call in airstrikes now. That's not exactly Splinter Cell, but okay. But it's just, we need those type of games out there. We really do need that. And, there's all these people, animal rights activists, fighting against this and saying how, oh, you run over harmless coyotes and stuff like that, with no remorse. Yeah. The feminists are getting out there saying, oh, the role of the female protagonist is so low. They're really ignoring.
Honestly, I feel
what the
like
game's trying to get at.
Spec Ops: The Line was like the first game to show the kind of like the what it is, but it was like really meta. In a way.
I wouldn't say Spec Ops Line is the first. I think it's the first that really spoke out in the current generation. I don't know what the first is, but I'm almost fairly certain there's got to have been a first from like the 90s or at least the 80s.
What kind of showed like the hypocrisy of violence, kind of.
Well, it doesn't even have to be violence, but a well-made and very playable social commentary game that sold fairly well.
Oh, just social commentary in general. Then.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. No, I was thinking more of, since we were talking about the torture scene. Honestly, I think we should just do another episode on, like, because
controversies?
Spec Ops, like, I don't know how to describe Spec Ops, but, like, Yahtzee from Zero, I'm always going to bring up Zero Punctuation, by the way, because Yahtzee's my hero. But, like you said, like, Spec Ops The Line is basically one for the history books. At least for video games.
I think that was one of the very first well-made games that try to advertise itself as a military shooter, like one of those run-of-the-mill ones, just to get people to buy it.
Right.
And they just slam it right in the face.
It completely deconstructed
messages.
it,
Yeah.
And it made sense, right? It wasn't just like, oh, buy this. It made sense, yeah. But I guess we could talk about that in another episode, because I think we're running... Do we have a time limit on this thing, or...
Well, I know that we got about 7 more minutes, I think, before I at least have to get out of here.
Oh no. Okay, well... Oh, completely forgot about Civ. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we've been waiting.
Oh my god, why don't you guys say something, man?
I did. I kept pinging you in chat.
Oh my god. Oh, I completely forgot. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, so do we have time to talk about Yamauchi? Or, like, we have 7 minutes, right?
We have enough time to basically give a quick synopsis of what happened. I don't exactly know the full details.
1 minute, Joe. You can do it. Go.
Oh, want me to do it? Okay. My goodness. Well, from what I know, because I haven't really covered the story too much. Former CEO of Nintendo. I think he died. He was 92.
What did he do?
He was probably one of the most well-respectable Nintendo CEOs that have ever basically been up there. He was all for originality. Just an overall wonderful guy in the game industry. I know several industry leaders were very sad to see him go. Especially games were very sad to see him go because, it's just a major icon is gone, And I think it really just shows how, even though he's lived a long life, it still really shows how quickly someone that, we really cherish can leave, just like that. I think that the reason why he died too is really would have been a minor case had he been younger. I want to say, what was it, a fever that he had?
What is cause of death?
Yeah.
Let me see. Pneumonia, complications of pneumonia.
Pneumonia, and that's somewhat still understandable. Oh, and he died at 85, by the way, my mistake. But still, like, it just shows that even most minor things sometimes can really take someone out and really make us think and really cherish, especially with what happened to, oh my goodness, I can't remember his name, over at Giant Bomb, who recently died.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Oh, man.
He was like 35. Hold on. I feel awful for not remembering. And Ryan Davis. Yeah, I remember the whole entire gaming community, especially of Giant Bomb, was devastated because that was the most sudden thing I've ever seen. But back to the original topic, it's just I'm especially sad to see him go. I mean, I never really I didn't really invest much research into him. You know, back when he was still in his prime and all that stuff. But we still see his legacy to this day, and I'm sure in the future. I think he was definitely a wonderful man.
Yeah, I think he's definitely responsible for bringing Nintendo to be what it is today. Because what Nintendo was like, I don't even know what it was before he was around, but he basically put them on the map during the electronics era, and he's like responsible for. I don't think he created the consoles, but he was definitely responsible for some of the philosophies behind the architecture of just reading Nintendo 64 here. Apparently, he wanted it to be slightly difficult to program, just so that it would repel, like lazy developers, and that's why the N64 has so many good games on it.
Right. Oh, and
That's
before
pretty amazing.
he also fostered the development of one of our more favorite game developers, Miyamoto, created Legend of Zelda, Star Fox, and many other games. And Yamauchi also assigned his son-in-law, Minoru Arawaka, to lead the American operation of Nintendo. He especially, let's say the source from like AdventureBeat.com, they were saying how he really helped out Nintendo to really survive the console war between Sega and Atari in the 1980s and 90s. Yeah, he just did a wonderful job. Stepped down in 2002 and left the board in 2005. And hey, he even owned the Seattle Mariners Major League Baseball team. So how about that, huh? He was all around. Yeah, no, he definitely seemed like a really good guy. I also heard that he never ever touted himself to be better than anyone that worked under him. You know, he's really down to earth. You know, as with most people in that culture. You know, so that's he seemed like a really great guy. And too bad that he's gone. He's out of the world now.
Rest in peace, bro. Thanks for. Yeah, I'm pretty sure like half of the games we play wouldn't exist if it wasn't for him. And, like,
Absolutely.
Nintendo. So that pretty much covers it, right? For this week, I guess.
Yeah, I'll be sure to save our game.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll be sure to actually remember to play next time.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys, with the last 20 or so minutes being still animation, so probably just workers standing around.
Were you guys just looking at, a bunch of warriors on a map, just not doing anything?
I was kind of curious as to why it was taking an extremely long time for turn 76 to pass.
Okay. Maybe we should play a faster paced game. Or
you guys might want to look into Left 4 Dead. That's definitely a really fun one we can do. I'm sure we'll get laughs out of it. So definitely look into that, guys.
We can do Borderlands 2, Left 4 Dead 2, Team Fortress 2, a lot of 2s, Civ 5, or another game. Leave a comment on what you think we should play next, and we'll see if we all have it.
Yeah, I'm sure if you guys have topics to talk about, you can also give some topics to talk about too. We can really come out and talk about anything.
Since this is our first one, right? Things are still super rough. So, this is all first draft, I guess. I don't think we even have a name right now. But,
waiting on a turn.
Yeah, why not? No, so we're still trying to figure out structure of things, the flow of things. So I guess we're still trying to learn on the way. I'd say it's a pretty good first app. What do you guys think?
I think it was great. I think we did a great job.
Pat on the backs. Probably gets a fourth guy.
Or a girl.
Yeah.
Fourth girl.
Or a girl. Not discriminated.
Yeah. Yep. Don't be mad.
Help, it's a girl.
Help. It's a
I
woman.
just got friend zoned. No, I'm just so yeah, next Monday, same time.
Sounds good.
Thank you for watching. If you like this series and you want to see it continue, please do leave a like and favorite. It'll help us out and it'll tell us you love us. And feel free to subscribe for more. We'll do this every Monday and I'll probably post this every Tuesday.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Sounds as awkward as saying the Xbox Kinect. I know it sounds stupid, but Natal. I actually preferred Natal. It just sounded I don't know,
Project
aesthetically
Natal.
Pleasing.
Okay,
Yeah,
was it Project Natal, which is quite frankly, in my opinion, the douchiest way to pronounce natal, like a neonatal surgery?
That was my only qualm with it, but aside from that, I mean, Connect, like, I get it, kinetic and connect, but it's just like, okay, marketing guys. Very clever.
You just got Xbox One. I like, oh, it's getting confused with the first generation Xbox. I hate it. Oh, yeah, get that in at the end.
Oh, anyway,
that was good.
Yeah, perfect way to end it.